with the US election approaching. A lot of focus on the state of the economy, on the plans that the candidates have. But let's just remember, here in the UK, a lot of people are fixated on the state of the public finances, in particular this. This is showing you the national debt, so just how much the government owes as a percentage of GDP. And a lot of people saying, we need to get that down, OK? So it's all about having fiscal rules to get that line down from about 100% of GDP downwards. Look at where the US is, OK? Historically, the US, the now federal debt in the US has been more or less around the same kind of level as the UK. But look at where it's projected to head in the next few years. That is an enormous divide. In fact, the biggest gulf that we've had in that direction between the UK, projected by the end of this forecast horizon, so in the middle of the next decade, to be 91% of GDP, the US up at 125% of GDP. And that's partly because of lower tax revenues in the US. It's partly because of more spending on things like Medicare, but also things like the Inflation Reduction Act, also higher debt interest costs. But add it all up, and this is pretty much unprecedented. In fact, you know, a lot of people, when they compare the US to other countries around the world, and here you're just seeing the higher these bars are, the greater the level of the national debt in these countries, all the way from Japan at the top and Italy down to New Zealand. The US, a few years ago, it was in 7th place. Now, look at where it's heading. It's heading up to 3rd place. OK, so a lot of people will be asking the question, what is Donald Trump going to do about this? What's Kamala Harris going to do about this? Well, we've just had the latest estimates on this, so back to this earlier chart. Do you think they're going to bring this line down? Well, here's where the Harris campaign is expected or projected to take that line even higher, so up to 133% of GDP. How about the Trump campaign? Well, a lot of people think the Republicans traditionally fiscally conservative, so do they bring that line further down? Actually, it goes even higher under Donald Trump because you've got more in the way of spending and lower taxes, bringing it up to 142% of GDP. Totally unprecedented levels. And when I say unprecedented, this is going back to 1900. The higher this line is, the higher the national debt is. Doesn't even take into account all of those plans I was showing you a moment ago, but still projected to go even higher. It's never been as high as it's going at the moment. Perhaps one note of slight reassurance is, in the UK, it did go even higher after the Second World War, but that was not a happy economic story in those following years.